With the presidential election 8 days away, the DP's Lee Jae-myung vowed for pragmatic diplomacy for the national interests as he toured the Seoul metropolitan area today. Also in the capital region, the PPP's Kim Moon-soo touted his economic achievements during his time as Gyeonggi-do province governor. Russia launches its largest aerial assault on Ukraine, killing at least a dozen people as the two sides exchange prisoners of war. As international criticism pours in, U.S. President Donald Trump heavily criticized his Russian counterpart. The humanitarian tragedy only grows in Gaza, with an Israeli strike killing 9 children in one family, while others die from hunger and malnutrition. It's May 26, 8 p.m. in Seoul. This is Newscenter. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. Presidential hopefuls are now in their final week of the official campaign period. The Liberal Party's main contender today unveiled his diplomatic pledges, promising pragmatic diplomacy. Our correspondent Shin Ha-young reports.
Democratic Party presidential candidate Lee Jae-myung on Monday pledged to strengthen South Korea's diplomacy and security amid a rapidly changing international order. He said he would pursue pragmatic diplomacy centered on the national interest based on a strong South Korea-U.S. alliance. He added that he would work to rebuild trust in the alliance, which he says was damaged by a declaration of martial law. He also emphasized close trilateral cooperation with the U.S. and Japan while maintaining a firm stance toward Tokyo when it comes to historical issues.
We need to take a principled stance on historical and territorial issues. At the same time, areas like security, the economy, society, and culture shouldn't be overly restricted because of the historical and territorial issues. While it's not easy to separate these issues, we should approach other areas in a practical way that looks toward the future.
On China, Yi described it as an important trading partner and highlighted the need for stable Seoul-Beijing relations. Regarding North Korea, Yi aims to ease tensions on the Korean peninsula and achieve peace through denuclearization. He said Pyongyang's nuclear threats can no longer be ignored and vowed to work closely with the U.S. to resolve the issue. He also pledged to improve human rights for the North Korean people. Meanwhile, entering the final week of the official campaign period, he held rallies in the Seoul metropolitan area, focusing this time on southeastern Gyeonggi-do province.
Lee Jae-myung has promised to make southeastern Gyeonggi-do province a better place to live with improved access to education, housing, and transportation.
Earlier on Monday, he met with college students in Suwon to hear about the challenges they face with school and finding jobs. He said it's a serious problem that young people are worried about housing and stressed the need for more public dormitories.
It's a real problem that students have to worry about housing. The government should step up and use unused campus land to build more public dormitories.
He also pointed out issues including high meal costs and emphasized the need to expand programs like the 1,001 meals. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
The Conservative Party's main contender was also in Gyeonggi-do area, where he touted his economic achievements during his time as governor there. Meanwhile, despite the ballots already being printed, the merger is still on the table for the PPP. Our correspondent Kim Do-yeon has the latest.
The capital region is yet again the People Power Party's candidate Kim Moon-soo's focus. The region, consisting of half of the nation's population, is always a battleground region, and Kim could be seeing some hope of winning votes in Gyeonggi-do province, especially as he served 2 terms as governor with a track record of job making.
During my 8 years as Gyeonggi-do governor, in total I created 43% of all jobs in the nation. I created the most jobs and hosted Samsung's Pyeongtaek chip complex, made Pangyeok Techno Valley and LCD complexes for LG.
He in fact visited the Pyeongtaek Samsung Electronics campus himself. The complex is known to be the largest in the world by land mass. There he spoke of how he supported industries and that it's worrisome for him that Samsung and other big companies recently are leaving for other nations such as the US because of tariffs. Meanwhile, as he rallies around the province, he's been trying to compare himself to his DP rival Lee Jae-myung, who was a governor here also more recently. He's been putting the focus on the legal risks that arose from his time as the mayor of a city in the province and a former governor of the province, while Kim has no legal issues from his terms. As for the election landscape, the PPP believes that the DP's lead is narrowing compared to the beginning of the election campaign, and in the next 8 days, they're trying to make a comeback. One big move, of course, is left for the party: the merger with the Reform Party.
I propose that the Reform Party present its conditions for a potential merger. We are prepared to do everything we can to make it happen. And let me be clear, we are fully ready to embrace the Reform Party's policies for the younger generation, especially those in their 20s and 30s.
Of course, the ballots are already being printed, and the Reform Party candidate Lee Jun-seok's name will be on it on June 3rd, regardless of the merger, who of course says it won't happen. Kim Do-il, Arirang News.
To follow up on that, Reform Party candidate Lee Jun-seok has reaffirmed his resolve to remain in the presidential race, rejecting the People Power Party's push for a merger. The resolve was shared on Monday, with Lee adding that his party is determined to run and win the race, and that the PPP should pressure its own candidate to resign, not him. The 40-year-old contender recently saw his approval rating reach 10%, amid growing support from those in their 20s as well as 30s, and from moderate voters. Last Friday, 4 presidential contenders appeared on the stage for their second debate to address social division, among others, by the end of which they seemed to stand further apart. Oh Soo-young has the highlights.
While promising social unity, presidential candidates clashed ferociously over politics and policy in their second televised debate. Focusing on social affairs, Friday's topic were social division, social safety nets, and sustainability. The Democratic Party's Lee Jae-myung said he would overcome social division and inequality with technology such as artificial intelligence and continue to improve the current national pension system. As the former Labour minister, the People Power Party's Kim Moon-soo promised to build wider income safety nets for small businesses with improved pension schemes. Reform candidate Lee Jun-seok proposed a major pension overhaul, pointing out that the 2 major parties' legislative revision last year benefits the older generation, while adding a $37,000 burden on every young Korean. He also called for cuts to unnecessary high-tech scans that ramp up health insurance premiums. Democratic Labour's Kon Young-guk suggested doubling the basic pension to over $500 and building scores of state-run hospitals. Candidates also clashed over climate and energy policies. Left-leaning candidates continued pushing for renewable energy sources over nuclear power. Kim Moon-soo and Lee Jun-seok argued that nuclear power is much more efficient, affordable, and essential to support future industries like AI. But politics overrode policy throughout the 2-hour debate. Lee Jae-myung said Kim Moon-soo was part of the impeached Yoon Suk-yeol administration that declared martial law last year.
The most extreme form of social conflict is an insurrection by martial law. Were they trying to completely wipe out the opposition?
Kim Moon-soo accused Lee's party of insurrection for handing radical left-wing group seats in parliament and underscored Lee's 5 criminal trials.
In corruption cases like Baekhyun-dong and Daejang-dong, just look at how many people close to him are in prison or have died under suspicious circumstances. Uprooting lies and corruption is the first step toward national unity.
Lee Jun-seok blasted both the leading parties. He said that while the Conservatives are tarnished with Yoon's martial law, the majority Democratic Party is just as guilty of creating a broken society.
You should be ashamed. Those who are jointly responsible for wrecking the country show up in red and blue, only different in color, fighting over power in a shameless world.
The third and final live debate takes place on Tuesday, focusing on politics. Ulsan, Arirang News.
Overseas voter turnout for the June 3rd presidential election has hit a record high of almost 80%. The National Election Commission announced on Monday that a little over 205,000 South Korean nationals living abroad cast their ballots, which is around 79.5% of eligible overseas voters. Ballots will be shipped back to Korea and will be checked at Incheon International Airport, watched by observers recommended by the National Assembly. They will then be mailed to regional election commissions and remain sealed before they are counted on voting day. The overseas voting, which ran for 6 days starting May 20th, closed on Sunday at 223 polling stations in 118 countries. Russia launched aerial assaults on Ukraine on a massive scale over the weekend, which killed at least 12 people. It has drawn strong condemnation from European leaders, as well as from U.S. President Donald Trump, who has sharply criticized the Russian leader, calling him absolutely crazy. Kim Jong-sil has the latest.
Russia launched its largest aerial assault of the war, with at least 12 killed and 60 wounded across several Ukrainian regions after a series of airstrikes late Saturday night. Among the victims were 3 children from the same family in the Zhytomyr region west of Kyiv, according to Ukraine's Internal Affairs Minister.
Let the world wake up and see. How long can they bomb children? We go to bed and do not know what awaits us in the morning.
Ukrainian President Zelensky reported that nearly 300 attack drones and almost 70 missiles were fired during the assault. In a social media post on Sunday, he denounced the attacks, claiming they were deliberate strikes on ordinary cities. Zelensky reiterated his call for stronger sanctions to halt Russia's brutality. Later in the day, U.S. President Donald Trump also weighed in on the escalating conflict.
I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time. Always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people.
Trump also responded to questions about the possibility of further sanctions on Russia.
Absolutely. He's killing a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that.
Later, in a social media post on Truth Social, Trump said Putin has gone absolutely crazy and warned that if he takes all of Ukraine, it will result in the downfall of Russia. European leaders also condemned Russia's actions, warning of additional sanctions. German Foreign Minister Johann Wadepool said Putin's disregard for peace cannot be tolerated, while EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas called for the strongest international pressure to end the war. The massive airstrike came as Ukraine and Russia completed a 3-day 1,000 prisoner swap, with 303 Ukrainian soldiers returned on Sunday as part of the exchange. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
The plight of people in Gaza persists as children fall victim to Israeli airstrikes too often, with the recent one killing 9 children in one family, while others suffer from the lack of access to food. Ian He reports.
Hamdi al-Najjar, a Palestinian doctor, is in critical condition following an Israeli airstrike that killed 9 of his 10 children. His wife, also a doctor at Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza, had to see her burned children in the ruins of their home.
So she told me her children have died. She went to her house and saw her children burned. May God help her.
According to Gaza's government media office, the children killed ranged in age from 7 months to 12 years old. The only survivor, an 11-year-old, is severely injured. Israel's military confirmed it carried out a strike on Khan Yunis on Friday, saying that it targeted suspected militants operating from a structure near Israeli troops in an area that had been told to evacuate. The IDF added that the claim regarding harm to uninvolved civilians is under review. Meanwhile, Hamas accused Israel of deliberately targeting medical staff and their families and civilians. On Saturday, a 4-year-old child died due to severe malnutrition, raising the hunger-related death toll to over 58 in the besieged enclave over the past 80 days. Also, more than 240 people, mostly children and the elderly, have died from a lack of food and medical care.
My message to the world: besiege the embassies, speak up, break this siege, stop this genocide on the Gaza Strip, on our hungry, besieged people.
Amid growing global outrage, Spain hosted a high-level meeting in Madrid on Sunday with over 20 European and Arab countries to pressure Israel for a ceasefire and lift its humanitarian aid blockade into Gaza. The meeting included EU countries that were once considered close allies of Israel, now joining the international call for restraint as Israel expands its military operations in Gaza. The U.S. urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to delay plans for a full-scale ground offensive in Gaza. That's according to the Jerusalem Post on Sunday, which said the request was made in order to allow ceasefire negotiations and a hostage deal proceed in parallel with military operations. With the ceasefire negotiations deadlocked, Israel has intensified its bombardment and ground invasion in Gaza, with reports saying that its forces now control over 77% of the Gaza Strip. 이은희, Arirang News.
Over in the U.S., President Trump demands that Harvard University reveal the names of its international students, following his attempt to ban the school's foreign student enrollment amid a standoff over Harvard's campus policies. Lee Seung-jae has the latest.
U.S. President Donald Trump took to Truth Social on Sunday to demand that Harvard University provide its administration with the names and nationalities of all its international students. In the late-night post, Trump noted that 31% of Harvard's students are from foreign lands, some of which are not friendly to the United States. Trump added that his administration wants to know who those foreign students are, stressing that the demand is a reasonable request as the government gives the Ivy League school billions of dollars. Harvard University says there would be over 6,700 names on the list. According to the New York Times on Sunday, the Trump administration's decision to block international students from enrolling at Harvard is raising concerns among other U.S. universities and colleges. The report notes that while Harvard is the administration's target now, it could spread to other schools in the country. In a Fox News interview last week, U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem raised the possibility that other schools, including Columbia University, could face a similar fate. The president of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Sally Kornbluth, slammed the Trump administration's ban on Harvard's international student enrollment, calling it a fatal blow to American excellence, openness, and creativity. The Trump administration has been demanding changes to campus policies, citing the need to eradicate anti-Semitism at universities. Harvard has refused to implement those changes, claiming they infringe on academic freedom. A court has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's plan. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
In other news, Korea is closely watching a recent rise in the number of COVID-19 cases in Asia. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency says it is monitoring the spread, especially in China and Hong Kong. The agency stated that the current situation in Korea is still under control, but it's not time to relax yet. It added that like last year, there could be another COVID wave this summer. The agency stressed that people should follow hygiene rules and advise high-risk groups to get vaccinated. The prehistoric rock art along the Pangucheon stream in Korea's Ulsan is set to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The rock art, or petroglyphs, include the Pangude rock art, which depicts various animals as well as humans hunting and cutting up whales. Meanwhile, the Cheonjanri rock art stands out for its geometric symbols. The Korea Heritage Service announced on Monday that ECOMAS, an organization which evaluates cultural properties for UNESCO, has recommended the site for listing. Inclusion on the list is expected in July, making it South Korea's 17th World Heritage Site. Time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. Joining us in the studio is our sports editor, Paul Neat. Hello, Paul.
Hello there.
Let's begin with football. There was a South Korean national team squad announcement this morning.
Yes, for the 2 World Cup qualifiers in June. Away to Iraq on June 5th, local time. And then South Korea play a Kuwait in Seoul on June 10th. Manager Hong Myung-bo announced his squad for those matches this morning. Son Heung-min is in, despite missing the last game of the season for Tottenham Hotspur with an injury. Kim Min-jae is out though, deemed not fit enough to be involved. There's a first inclusion for Jeonbuk forward Jeon Jin-woo, the K-League 1 top scorer with 10 goals from 15 matches. He is one of 12 players from the K-League, 3 more than in March. Hong said that he wants players who are mid-season and fitter than some of his other options, the likes of Bae Jun-ho, Yang Min-hyuk and Om Ji-sung, who've not played since the EFL season in England ended on May 3rd. A draw against Iraq would see South Korea book their place at the 2026 World Cup.
Well, sticking with football, Tottenham Hotspur held quite a celebration for their Europa League victory.
Yes, a huge parade through North London on Friday. Tottenham Hotspur, thanks to a 1-0 win over Manchester United in Bilbao last Wednesday, secured their first piece of silverware in 17 years, winning the Europa League. It was also their first European honour in 41 years, and it meant a first honour in general for captain Son Heung-min. Needless to say, the celebrations were grand. Thousands lined the streets as the Spurs players paraded the Europa League trophy through North London. There were also some speeches afterwards. Son declared that he loves the fans, while manager Ange Postecoglou hinted at what's to come next year, saying that in a TV series, Season 3 is better than Season 2. Well, Season 2 ended on Sunday with Spurs losing 4-1 to Brighton to finish 17th.
Moving on to table tennis, Shin Yu-bin has done something that no female Korean star has done in decades.
That's right, winning 2 medals at a single world championship. Shin and Ryu Hana won bronze in the women's doubles at the World Table Tennis Championships in Qatar on Saturday. They lost the semi-final 3-2 to Sofia Polkanova of Austria and Bernadette Zox of Romania. But with no third-place match, they secured bronze automatically. Shin and Ryu have played together before too, doing so in the Asian Junior Championships in 2018, winning gold. But a bronze in the mixed doubles with Im Jong-hoon. Shin therefore became the first female Korean player to win multiple medals at a World Championship in 32 years. The last person to do so was Hyun Jung-hwa in 1993.
Great stuff. All right, thanks for that. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
The last of the spring weather petered out over the weekend, and the summer heat has gradually returned from today. The daytime temperature in Seoul rose to 26 degrees Celsius today, which is 3 degrees higher than yesterday. Temperatures will rise day by day throughout the week, reaching as high as around 30 degrees in the later half. Strong ultraviolet rays were detected in most areas today due to the strong sunshine. In particular, the UV index was reported as very high in the Seoul metropolitan area and Gangwon-do provinces, where there was less cloud cover. It is expected to reach very high across the country tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow morning, Seoul and Busan will start off at 15 degrees Celsius, with Chuncheon and Gyeongju at 12 degrees. Daily highs will move up to 26 degrees in Seoul and 23 degrees in Busan and Jeju. However, heavy showers are expected in eastern areas tomorrow and Wednesday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is Newscenter for tonight. Tomorrow, we will be coming to you live an hour earlier at 7 p.m. Korea time. The third and final presidential debate will be aired at 8 p.m. on Arirang. Thanks for watching.